Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the XTelliGent One AI and GxP 2025 Summit, where cutting-edge AI converges with the pharmaceutical excellence. We have this groundbreaking event that brings together the most influential minds in AI and GxP manufacturing to shape the future of our industry. In this session, we've assembled an exceptional roster of thought leaders from industry giants across multiple verticals, and these visionaries will share their expertise and insights, providing you with actionable strategies to revolutionize your GxP processes. We'll deep dive into some of the latest developments in agentic frameworks, AI automation, intelligent validation, and our expert-led sessions will equip you with knowledge to harness these powerful tools within your organization. To initiate this session, we have the CTO of XLM, Ashwin Kumar. He's the head of engineering and a passionate advocate of AI ML. Ashwin currently spearheads innovation and modernization across XLM's product suite and all of the platform services, and he provides strategic vision by defining roadmaps for the next-gen solutions. Ashwin has managed large projects and teams in several verticals across manufacturing, engineering, e-commerce platforms, and he also has a postgraduate degree in business administration and management. So over to you, Ashwin, for the keynote.
Thank you, Anand. It's great to be here. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining this session. As Anand mentioned, today we have a large set of sessions scheduled for you guys to showcase and get some information. I mean, everybody's talking about AI and things like that. So in this age of transformational intelligence that is happening across the board, we are getting a lot of information overload. The year of 2024 can be aligned to be the year of generative AI, right? The intelligence aspect of it. Everybody has been talking about DeepSeek the last 2 days, right? Everybody, the up and down, the cyclical turbulations of AI, let's just say that. So, but coming back to this particular conference, it was we internally started discussing about this, and what came across is there is so much information out there that is happening so rapidly. And one of the key industries that we are in is basically providing services to pharma and medical device industries. So we said it's better to kind of assimilate some of this information that we have, that we practically are seeing on a day-to-day basis, and put it out there for our audience to kind of understand and gain from it, right? And it's an organic next step. We're going into generative AI. Next step is agentic AI. Everybody's talking about it, and we go from there. Can everybody see the slides? I don't think we can see the slides.
No, Ashwin. Can't see.
Can you share? Or you want me to share, Anand? You want me to share, Anand, the slides, the opening slides that we had?
Yes, please, Ashwin. Yep.
Okay. Let me just quickly share my screen. And see if everybody is able to see that.
It's coming up. Yep.
Is everybody able to see my screen?
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you for the confirmation. So we are here to talk about the evolution of traditional automation to autonomous AI, how we got here, right? So so to understand that, I think it's better to understand how the overall industrial revolution. I won't take too much time on that. Technically, we are at Industry 4.0. Industry 1.0 was mainly water, steam, 18th century. They talk about water, steam, and things like that, that led to industrialization. Then Industry 2.0 was early 19th 19th century when automation, machinery, assembly lines, electricity, everything started becoming mainstream. And we went from that to 3. The third industry 3.0 was late 1900s, early 2000s, was primarily the digital revolution, right? In which we had PLCs, we had robots, we had a lot of systems that we could sensory data that we can put it into the lines. A lot of time took to put all those things in there. And then now the industry 4.0 is about collecting all this information, the signals that is coming out through IoT devices, and then doing some meaningful actions on those signals. And we call it Industry 4.0, where autonomous agents will possibly not only do predictive, but prescriptive analytics also with corrections and things like that. So moving on with that, so early machinery development was there, control systems came in, scheduled maintenance was planned around that. And there was humans who would do it basically manually, looking at keeping periodic notes about that and things like applying planned maintenance objectives. So why this keeps jumping? 1 second. I should have gotten a bot to keep moving this instead of me having to manually do this. Now, before we get into agentic AI, before I talk more about it, let's understand what exactly it is, because there's a lot of terminology around that. People use it interactively regarding many different things, a lot of hype. So the type of AI that operates as autonomous agents that can reason and perform tasks without human intervention is agentic AI, right? It's autonomous agents acting on intelligence that it has gathered, reasoning that intelligence, and then being able to take actions, corrective actions on it. Technically, if you're looking at it from a decision tree standpoint, it is going through different permutations and combinations and arriving at a particular decision and taking that decision. Now, it is not anything new. It is not, I wouldn't say it is anything path-breaking, but it is coming mainstream now because it can be utilized. We are seeing it everywhere. You drive a Tesla, you see it. You using Google Maps, you see it. But unknowingly, you're using it. But in industry, it's going to become more and more relevant because as we see, the technology companies adapt to the changes very quickly. Then comes the middle tier organizations. Then comes the banks, and then comes manufacturing, because maturity models are very important for industries to implement such frameworks in order to get to the next step of evolution. So moving on. So we move further on, we see Gartner putting out these trends, and one of the biggest trend for 2025, according to Gartner, is agentic AI, where not only manufacturing industries are going to utilize agentic AI, but across the board, chatbots using agentic AI, technology companies for deployment, CI/CD using agentic AI, corrections across the board in terms of even maintenance, agentic AI. People are deploying that. Validation, agentic AI. So Gartner released another report that there is going to be 60% increase in investments in AI for the next till 2027. That's taking a lot of this new compute capabilities that a lot of these organizations are putting out there. These data centers have these capabilities now with advancement of chip technology, and readily available resources make it easy for us to churn through data and arrive at these decision-making points, which Autobots can utilize and implement very quickly. So what do they provide, right? What do the autonomous agents provide? They provide us with real-time intelligence and action, right? Previously, only real-time intelligence was something we could achieve. But now with not only definitive analytics, we could do predictive in real time. On top of predictive, we could do prescriptive, which is as good as taking action on a particular event. So there are many different examples that I will go over as we go along. But what does it also provide is the flexibility and the responsiveness. A lot of times in manufacturing, the quicker you react, the better it is. If not, then you would end up losing a lot of wastage in terms of raw material as well as finished product. And everywhere where there is manual intervention needed, we have the flexibility of deploying these autonomous agents, provided it is simple enough. Complex solutions, complex situations, complex decision-making will still stay with human intelligence, require human intervention, but things that can be automated, this can be validated in an automated way, would go towards the autonomous AI agents capabilities, right? They will enhance the overall process because now time to react is much quicker. One of the biggest benefit is compliance, because when human intervention is there, there's a lot of manual effort, there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of audit, and everybody in the medical industry as well as pharma industry is aware of it, that how compliance comes into play when you have to go through those audits, prove that certain actions were taken because of certain symptoms, and not having to build it, going back and building it is very difficult unless you have a very good audit trail associated with that. With autonomous agents, these, if we design this correctly, which I will talk about in a little bit, these can be done very well, or this can be implemented very well. And also your operational efficiency will increase. GxP by default is guidelines to improve your operational efficiency. So autonomous AI agents are here to stay. They are going to enhance our capabilities and our productivity. So one of the key challenges that is going to be there in the industry is to build this responsible AI frameworks that meet regulatory compliance. Now, a lot of the SLT members, the CTOs that we work with, as well as the CEOs that we talk to, are in an urgency to deploy because they feel that they are kind of going to be behind on the 8 ball. They will miss the train of implementing these capabilities, but they are cautious also because they want to implement not just for the sake of implementation, but also want to derive benefits out of it. Because there is some metrics out there which says that 80% of the projects fail because of not having strategic direction as well as strategic value defined at the first stage of the process of the project itself. So how do we do that? How do we build frameworks that meet regulatory compliance? So we have to first understand what is GxP, what is regulatory requirements in GxP manufacturing before we implement these agentic AI requirements, right? So as part of our development itself, we should be writing good audit logs, deployment of these actions that are being taken, how we got there. It is bots talking to bots, agents talking to agents. If a particular action is being taken, a corrective action or a standard action is being taken, it has to be properly audited, understood that FDA requires these type of guidelines. It has provided these guidance very clearly, and it is also in compliance with our standards, best practices that have been defined at an organization level. Every organization goes through this particular process. They go through this corrective action, cause and effect, things that have occurred in the past. They will take those particular instances and deploy accordingly. But some organizations have their own standards, and that also has to be baked into this, making sure that it applies across the board. International standards are also very critical because if you are operating in the international market, there is very stringent requirements that you have to fulfill in case there is any type of audit, any type of questioning that comes across the board. So responsible AI, when you deploy, make sure you have good audit capabilities, good explainability of why certain decisions are being taken, and how it is being done. Validation is also another key step. Understanding this regulatory requirements is essential for the integration, because if you are unaware of what data to actually log, there are certain critical sensitive data you should not log. Those are also something that you should already know as part of the process, and certain restricted access, all those things have to be taken into account when you're doing that. Now, I'll go further on and discuss about the challenges that people face when they are implementing this agentic AI in their systems, automation agents in their systems. First and foremost is the data quality and integrity of the data. The ability of the agentic AI to take action depends upon the intelligence it has got from its previous step, which is predictability. Predictability depends upon data quality and integrity. There is a lot of data, a lot of across the board, every second, in manufacturing, when a product goes through a particular line, there are so many sensors, so many PLCs that are deployed that send out signals, and each signal is logged somewhere, consuming that large amount of data, tagging that information accurately, that it is associated with this particular action, is very critical. We go through this with a lot of our clients where they have this data accumulated, but it's not in a way where it is explainable. I shouldn't say structured. Structured is another challenge by itself, but explainable data is also very difficult to get at times if it is not tagged correctly. You spend a lot of time in most of the time we realize that we spend is not in churning through the data, but actually preparation of the data to ensure that whatever inferences the systems are doing are aligned with the expectations of what the data is actually telling us, right? Accuracy and precision is another thing that is very critical for agentic AI, right? It all depends upon how accurately can we predict that this is the symptom that has occurred for that action to be taken, even standard or corrective, whatever it is. Models, the way to do it is we go through multiple iterations of running it through trial and error, making sure the correct prompts are coming back, the correct signals are coming back, the correct decisions are coming back, and traceability aspect of it is also, right? The transparency of how we arrived at that particular decision is very, very critical. And as we mature with these models, as the models mature, as we apply these theories, we have to go through a continuous validation aspect of it. And it's not just one and done. Every iteration, a small tweak here, a small tweak there, data can result in different results. We hear in the news all the time that, hey, just today I was reading about it, asking Grok whether Elon Musk is a good guy or bad guy. It's telling it is his own AI engine, which is saying he's not a good guy, he's a bad guy. So not that it is whether true or false, I'm going to debate on that, but I'm saying that there are sensitive stuff like DeepSeek not giving information regarding PRC and things like that. So it has gone through multiple iterations where they have either blocked it from giving wrong information or purposely blocked it to give specific information. It all depends upon the strategic model that you have set up, the strategic rules that you have set up, and sticking and validating that is very critical for your agentic AI to take further actions, right? The other critical aspect of it is safety. If you're not able to define it properly, it can result, especially in the manufacturing environment, it can result in a lot of impact, right? Safety is one of the critical aspects of it. Spills, a small little infraction can result in millions of dollars of correction. So that is why I said earlier on that complex scenarios where it's not randomly deploy, it will require a lot of thought, a lot of validation in order to make sure that this is the scenarios that we are tackling. And in this scenario, this action will be taken. Repetitive, we can validate and we can make sure that it gets deployed. The other biggest challenge that we face is the overall understanding. There's a lot of buzz, there's a lot of hype around AI. Every day there are new frameworks that are being put out there, new companies coming out. It's a very exciting time to be out there. and you will hear from my other esteemed colleagues who are part of the industry talk about it. But having the right technical force as well as other business folks who are collaborating to these are very critical. It is very important that you arrive at a decision after taking a lot of things into consideration, and your skilled workforce will help you have the ability to do that. And the only thing is the cultural change where you have to implement continuous learning and adaptability. That's very critical to have your workforce become better at deploying these agentic AI. How do we do that, right? Designing AI systems with compliance. One of the key things, as I said, compliance in mind. So we make sure that our design, fundamental design, takes compliance into account, audit logs from ground up, regulatory, right? You think about it, these are best practices and regulatory compliance. Mix both of them together, build your overall structure. And best part is you can have AI by itself audit your code or deployment configurations by itself to make sure that the validation is sound, the change is sound, and then deployed. So the inspectors inspecting the inspectors, and on top of that, you have humans looking at it and validating it. That's the best step to go, how you do it now. Till we get to a maturity point where we can blindly believe and just deploy. We are not there yet. That's Industry 5.0, where bots are auto sensing, auto making decision across the board and go from there. That's the self-driving car capability, which seems to be very close, but a little bit far. So we'll get to that. Incorporating audit features is very important. It will give you transparency as well as explainability, which is very critical, and traceability, right? Tracing back end to end from start point where it started occurring to the end point where the action was taken. If you are able to explain that through your design process, that overall all actions can be very easily explained, that's the best design that you can do that. And these things you cannot, well, a lot of times we see after the fact, people taking that into account, or the resources as well as the upstream capability is not there to deploy these audit rules. Yet, if you do it in phases, it can still be attained. End goal is to have a full chain of events very clearly traceable so that you can very quickly assign that. Now, a lot of companies talk about ghost in the system. You have to ensure that there are no biases that are happening when these models are running, these predictions are happening, these symptoms are being evaluated. Because just yesterday, they were talking about there is no more data that is out there that can be utilized to train models anymore. So now they are talking about synthetic data that is going to be fed. Now, synthetic data comes with its own challenges. That's a completely different session by itself. But but with the data that you have, goes back to the data quality, and the accuracy of the data is very important, so that you don't let the anomalies impact your primary decision of why you are doing the changes. Ensuring transparency is one of the key. Accountability. I want to touch upon accountability because one of the things that's going to be more relevant is there are departments which will progress further. Innovative managers will try to utilize this functionality, availability, capability, and deploy. And then there will be systems which will be deployed loosely. I should not say they might not adhere to the same level of speed as well as deployments as the other teams. Now, what in the end, it should not occur is if you have your best practices well defined, it should not result in a blame game. Hey, your bot, your auto agent told us this versus we had only these actions in place, and we took this action because of this, because there's a lot of, as I said, safety and risk. So accountability, defining these are the boundaries, these are the contract systems, these are the contracts that we will honor, and these are the codes that we will share in case of certain issues is very critical. This handshake between departments when they are deploying these agentic AI, autonomous agents, it's very important. Validation levels are important. So in the end, it comes down to your understanding of best practices and regulatory requirements, and designing and building a template for design that everybody adheres to. And constant validation, constant monitoring, continuous validation, continuous monitoring are critical for these type of solutions. Real world applications where we see this. Case studies. Just last year, 2024, we did a very interesting POC with one of our clients, and they had a lot of data coming across different generation of lines, and one of the strategic goal was to identify, predict patterns, and make sure we come to a golden standard of configuration. And the second step was to deploy agents which will correct those configurations. We spent a lot of time looking at the data, and we were able to deploy a framework which accurately predicts that the systems are going to have degradation at this point of time, and by doing a corrective maintenance at the right time through an autonomous agent, we were able to predict very quickly and correct a lot of problems for the client. So it is possible, as long as it is not complex, too complicated. There were complex scenarios too in this process, which we realized that we were not there yet in terms of skill set maturity, as well as data maturity, as well as our infrastructure maturity to deploy those type of complex scenarios. But as we move forward towards more and more capabilities and understanding of how to deploy this trial and error, we can also start tackling complex scenarios. One of the other interesting was we were working with a computer vision company, which was measuring for subjects their mobility and cognitive abilities. And we were able to showcase that by deploying autonomous privacy was not being well maintained regarding the data for the subjects. We deployed our bot, it went out, figured out encryption, obfuscation capabilities were not there, and we were able to deploy another corrective bot which should go out and do for all historical information, go and do all the changes that were needed in the systems, search and correct. And it was pretty good that we were able to do such small things for our clients. I shouldn't say small because these were big for them, but as privacy as well as security are also one of the key things that have to be implemented as part of this framework. How do we do that? How do we enhance quality with autonomous AI, right? We can do real-time analysis, which will help in quality in detection of problems. And in real time, if there is a problem with a batch, if it's a problem with a malfunctioning device, a lot of times we realize after the fact, and then the correction and the manual intervention takes a lot of time. By deploying these autonomous, you will have signals will be evaluated, and whatever, even if a human has to be notified, it can be done in a very quick manner. It is surprising to a lot of people, or it might be surprising to a lot of people on the call, that such systems are not already deployed. And believe it or not, we see manufacturing industries slow to understand that these capabilities are there, that it can auto-correct certain things that will have significant benefit for that companies. We have worked with many where they have realized this benefit and they have implemented it, and they have reaped the benefits of even compliance assurances by doing that. Predictive maintenance. By doing this, right, by collecting all the signals, not only the first step is predictive maintenance, which we can very clearly provide that through all this data quality, right? We have enhanced operational efficiency as well as cost savings and resource management. Resources which were previously being engaged for every little small noise in the system started to go away for these clients. It will go away when you deploy these agents. The human workforce, there is a lot of anxiety that these bots, these autonomous agents might replace the entire human workforce. I tend to have a separate opinion. It will complement, because humans will have more ability to work more smarter, dedicate their time towards more critical challenges and take the noise away. These, at least at this point of where we are. In the future, I can't predict about the future. The maturity might be at a level where it might replace, but at where we are, I think it's starting to, at least in the software development, where we see things, frameworks, it is writing code, but it's still at a bit, there is a reason all these ChatGPT and everybody is talking about beta in their models, because it's not at a point of maturity where it can be completely handed over to it. Now, one of the key things that I want to touch upon is the security operations, how GxP comes into play when we talk about security, right? So working with, as part of security, enhancing collaboration, right? Integrating DevSecOps with AI will foster better collaboration between teams. A lot of times we realize that CISOs, security leaders, are so scared about new deployments with all these ransomware attacks, and it has brought a lot of. We have worked with a couple of clients whose entire operations have been down because it was there were ransomware attacks, and they were not able to operate. So security folks are getting to the forefront of development itself, where they are working with developers in telling them these secure principles have to be applied, protocols have to be applied in terms of not only compliance, but also in terms of safety of data. And when you ingrain this as part of your development process, it becomes more and more easier, like encryption of data, obfuscation of privacy data, obfuscation of case data, and things like that. Now, how does that apply with the AI? AI, in terms of feeding data to AI, we need to make sure that in and out of those systems also are kept securely, and all those prompts that it is providing, all those responses that it is providing is also secure, and you can't have data being sent out of your systems without proper checks and balances. For that, continuous monitoring comes into play, where we deploy an agentic AI, which is constantly monitoring your networking, constantly monitoring your systems, so that there is no abnormal activity that is found in the systems. Implementing best practices that SecOps folks give is also the critical part of AI development. Validation. Now, one of the key things we can solve with agentic AI is this validation challenges that a lot of folks face. We see this across the board. Continuous integration, continuous deployment is a word, but XLM has added continuous validation as well as continuous monitoring to the overall strategy. And one step further, we're going towards continuous intelligence. It is AI is driving that it is not just continuous integration, continuous development, but all the way till continuous monitoring is a entire platform-related activity, rather than it's just one department. It's all across the board has to be followed. Best practices, regulatory compliance, as well as unique validation challenges, complex scenarios. It is very difficult to do that, but it's one and done. Now, with agentic AI coming in, these systems have the capability to detect these edge cases and also deploy accordingly. In future sessions, you will see how we have utilized these capabilities in order to generate scenarios and deploy it in a much more faster way. Handcrafting of certain scenarios and all are no longer needed. It is automated. And with real-time users, you can deploy the same capabilities. Somebody's taking notes, somebody's taking corrective action, writing notes. You can infer from those notes what real corrective action needs to be taken in certain scenarios. So what's the next thing for Industry 4.5, smart manufacturing, right? Taking that into account, we have a lot of things that we can do. Future trends, advancements in AI technology is going to give us the ability to do better efficiency, increase efficiency as well as accuracy. Integration of the key thing that is going to, I think my esteemed colleagues are also going to talk about it, is how do we combine structured data, unstructured data, as well as actionable data together and come back with a end-to-end process of deployment. Up till now, we had structured data on which we would run machine learning. We had unstructured data, which LLM coming into play is providing that particular capability. And then now we are talking about autonomous agents, which will take corrective action. And those action, those logs, those details from those actions, those notes can be combined again back into the feedback loop and built an entire end-to-end solution for that, right? Autonomous databases have come. Just 2 days back, I was looking at the Metropolis platform from NVIDIA, which is in real time able to detect the pitch and give feedback as this is the deviation from standard throws and things like that. It's a good video. We have added it here. Please go and take a look at it, and you will see how technology is advancing very quickly and platforms are becoming available. Skills. One of the key things that we tend to see is skills. It is very important to have skilled teams which are able to understand the AI part of it. The traditional IT is not the team that can be transformed into AI. They can be upskilling and additional R&D is needed in order for teams to be able to understand the concept of AI as well as deployment of AI. A lot of the organizations think it is all part of one IT department, and application development can substitute for AI related development. We tend to see that it is two different arms. They need to work together, but these are a different set of skills, and these are a different set of skills. And the only way to do it is continuous learning and adaptability are the key things. Technical proficiency has to be built. Communication and collaboration between all teams, not just technical teams, but business teams are also, operational teams are also very important, as well as problem-solving abilities of teams. That is most important. Finally, I'm at the end, concluding the keynote. The key thing I will leave with is strategic planning is very important for AI-related projects in manufacturing. You tend to be very clear about what you're trying to achieve, what is your end goal, what will it yield, and what is the ROI you're trying to get. And our recommendation is to start with small problems and reduce your expectations, because there's a lot of hype. People think that just by typing, I should be able to do that. Keep in mind, some are matured frameworks, some are still maturing. And if there is any suspicion about utilizing certain technologies, there's a lot of data out there, and XLM is more than happy to help you with that. That's it from my side. Thank you very much. There's a lot of sessions planned for today. Please take advantage of all this information that teams have put together. We have very good guest speakers on the panel today. Kindly listen to that and enjoy the session. Thank you. Thank you very much.